EA sucks. I'm a big Sims fan. I've been playing since the first games, but as a gamer and consumer, I can acknowledge that EA is not a consumer or worker-friendly company. They have been caught up in some very unhealthy inter-office drama, as well as some nasty monetization practices. Many DLCs that have come out for The Sims should have just been part of the base game. I'm looking at you, cats and dogs. Almost every update brings on more problems than what it fixes. And let's face it, once you start bringing mods in, you realize just how bland The Sims 4 is without them. That's where I am in my journey as a simmer. Is that a thing? I still enjoy playing The Sims when I load in a bunch of mods to enhance gameplay. All this isn't to say that The Sims is a bad game, but EA sure isn't a good company. Okay, enough dunking on EA. Let's move on to InZOI. I have been consuming so much media about InZOI lately. Honestly, it's probably to an unhealthy level. But as I feverishly consume every morsel of news I can scrounge from the depths of YouTube, I find that there's a pattern of positivity that has, for the most part, drowned out the drama. And it's not just about the game itself, but the story surrounding the game. And that makes me a little optimistic. A few specific things have stood out to me. One is the inspiration behind the creation of InZOI, which is actually quite heartwarming. A father and son who enjoyed playing The Sims together, and a son basically asking, what else is out there? So you could say that InZOI was inspired by familial love. Another is the pricing. The base game will be $40 upon release into early access. At face value, this may seem like a lot for a game in early access because it is not complete. However, that's the only price you're paying for the base game. It's not like you get charged an extra $20 upon 1.0 release. So you're paying $40 for what will eventually be a complete game. People may not recall because the Sims 4 base game has been free for a while now, but when it was first released, it cost $40. And full expansion packs like Get to Work and Discover University cost $40 as well, unless you snag them during a sale. That adds up pretty quick. And I'm not saying that $40 is cheap. It's not. But I do think it's reasonable, especially considering the very anti-consumer gaming market we find ourselves in. The other thing that really caught my attention was the hesitancy to give a date, or even really an approximate timeline, on releasing the full version of the game. Though this may be annoying for some, I think it shows a dedication to the development of the game and not doing a full release until it's ready, as well as not breaking promises. You could argue that having a game enter early access is putting the pressure of a game's development journey on free beta testers, and you're not wrong. But I find this to typically be a positive experience, especially with companies like Larian Studios. Although part of early access is dealing with the bugs that come with an in-development game, and the developing teams definitely want to hear about them to get them fixed, the biggest part of early access is providing feedback with the intention of improving the game for consumers, aka you. Not everyone is going to like being part of the early access phase, and that's okay. Only those who enjoy that part of the development journey should purchase a game in early access. What else makes me hopeful? Frankly, all the stuff that's already in the game. I take this as a sign that they are really trying to make the base game strong enough to stand on its own, which I would say is a slightly different approach than The Sims, at least The Sims 4. Here are a few things of note that differ from the base Sims 4 game. In-home services. The in-home services do not come in the base game of The Sims 4. You have to get them through the Get to Work and Parenthood expansion packs. In InZOI, you automatically get access to babysitters, repairmen, and cleaners, for an in-game price, of course. Careers. The Sims 4 base game gave you access to 10 basic careers and 4 additional career options. In InZOI, your career options will be slightly different depending on whether you are in Doan or Bliss Bay, but either way you will get access to 2 part-time jobs and 10 full-time jobs. Right now, this is actually less than what The Sims 4 started with, but we know there are plans for more career options, and the addition of the changing of careers based on where you live is a nice touch. For the part-time jobs, there will be one option where you can only be a cashier, and the other will allow you to get promoted to a manager. All of the full-time jobs have career paths, some with larger paths than others. Filters. These do not exist in The Sims 4 or its expansions without mods. By filters, I mean how you view the game. Basically the same kinds of things you would do in Canva, for instance. There are 9 filter options, and they definitely seem to change the feel of the world. Although I don't see this as one of the options that will be utilized a ton, it's cool that it was added, and I could see it being fun for role-playing and storytelling purposes. Divorce. This was not part of The Sims 4 until Love Struck expansion, which was just released last year, so they were way behind on this one. In InZOI, this will be part of the base game. You do need to work up to it, so to speak, by using negative interactions, but you don't need a DLC, which is a nice change. Jail. Jail didn't exist in The Sims 4 until the detective career was added via the Get to Work expansion. And even with that addition, the sim that you're playing as, aka your active sim, cannot be sent to jail. If you have your sim become a detective, they can make arrests and have some limited interactions with prisoners. In InZOI, even your active Zoi can get arrested. Not only that, you join them in jail. You get to play as them while they're in prison. It doesn't just skip over the time of your imprisonment. This is pretty cool. Okay, before I wrap up this video, I feel the need to bring this up based on certain drama I have seen here on YouTube regarding Sims and InZOI content creators. Although I am hopeful and excited for InZOI, I know that constructive criticism is more valuable than constant praise. InZOI won't be a perfect game. There will be some things that The Sims does better. Yes, you can argue that InZOI is in early access right now and is therefore incomplete, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't provide criticism. In fact, the team behind InZOI encourages this. They want content creators to tell them what they don't like, what's missing, etc. This is helpful to game developers. If you are entering your game into early access, it's either because you want the honest feedback from users on how to improve, or you're running a scam. Feel like we've seen enough from InZOI at this point to be confident that it's not a scam, so it must be the former. I won't name names, but if you are a content creator that is actively attacking other content creators because they criticize a game, the problem lies with you, not with them. No company, even Larian Studios, whom I have so much respect for, deserves that kind of shilling or loyalty. What I've discussed obviously isn't an exhaustive list, but I plan on taking a more in-depth look and comparison between The Sims 4 and InZOI once early access releases, which is just around the corner at this point, and I'm super excited. Are there any differences between The Sims and InZOI that make you feel hopeful for this new game, or differences that have disappointed you? Share it in the comments and consider subscribing for more InZOI coverage.